What's going on, everybody? Back again today, doing another discussion review video, talking to you today about a game that is almost 20 years old. It'll be 20 years old in 2022, and it's a pretty good game. I like it quite a bit. I didn't think I was going to like it. For the longest time, I avoided it because I did not think I was going to like it, uh, and we'll get into why. But the game is Neverwinter Nights. Now, I like the game. I want to start out by saying I do like the game. However, it is dated. Like I said, it's almost 20 years old, and I'm just now starting to try and play it. Reason I wanted to give it a try is because big D&D fan. In the last year to year and a half, I've actually gotten really into tabletop D&D. I like playing tabletop D&D. I mostly play 5th edition. I thought I had the handbook over here for a second, but no, I don't. Mostly play 5th edition, and Neverwinter Nights is a Dungeons and Dragons game. It's set in the lore and the universe of Dungeons and Dragons, and so it tries to follow the same rule set. And we were at work. There was no internet access. I couldn't, just binge watch Netflix. I just had some stuff that I'd downloaded and taken with me, and that's where I do the bulk of my gaming. Is when I'm out at work for those long periods of time with no internet. During at night after the workday is kind of over, we have the most amount of time to that's when I have the most amount of time to just devote to games. So that's where I do a lot of my just long run amounts of gaming, and decided I was going to give it a try because I wanted to try and get my friends at work together to play D&D with me, like tabletop D&D. And they'd tried it once with me before and they didn't really like it all that much, so they were kind of like, nah, it's not for me. I was just really wanting to play some D&D, so I was like, how am I going to make this happen? And I started looking for electronic alternatives, video game alternatives to D&D, and of course I heard the basic ones, the Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate series, Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, and I have started playing those as well on this. Well, Divinity Original Sin 2 I've started playing on the Switch, and I will do a separate video just about that. But this one's about Neverwinter Nights because the first one I wanted to start with, I was like, the reason I want to play a game like this is because I'm in a mood to play D&D, so I'm going to play one that's actually D&D, like it's modeled after D&D. Being from 2002, it is based on the 3.5 rule set of D&D, and to help me out because I was struggling with building my character. There's a lot of stuff from 3.5 over to 5th edition that's different. For instance, in 5th edition, if your character, for whatever reason, has the proficiency to use a certain type of armor, be it like light, heavy, medium, as long as you have the proficiency to use it, you can use it. So I can be a wizard in just full plate armor. As long as I like if I multi-class wizard and fighter, fighter also gets the, he comes with the proficiencies for all armor. So boom, now I'm a wizard that can wear plate armor. It doesn't work like that in 3.5 edition. In 3.5 edition, there's this thing called arcane spell failure that's attached to heavy armor. And it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. It's literally just the armor is so heavy that you cannot concentrate on casting your spells, and it causes you to fail. Like the first thing I tried to make was I like to base my characters off of like favorite fantasy characters. So I tried to base my D&D character I was making off of Gandalf. So I went wizard fighter, and he was gonna. But at the same time, I also put him in. I don't really know what I was doing. It wasn't Gandalf at all because I put him in plate armor. He was wizard fighter, and I put him in plate armor, and I was killing things just fine with my sword, shield, bows, and arrows. But whenever I would go to cast a spell, I really wouldn't see anything happening. And it's kind of like, oh, this is an old game, maybe it's not as flashy with the, spell animations as other. Maybe I missed it. And then I started looking into it, and I did something that was really helped me out. I actually bought a used copy of the 3.5 edition Player's Handbook, and that's really helped me out. Just having this to kind of like browse through and page through while I'm at my laptop playing Neverwinter Nights, that's really helped me out. And I've come to realize that with armor carrying a certain amount of arcane spell failure percentage, you can't expect to cast arcane magic wearing heavy plate armor, which I think is dumb. Like stuff like that in RPGs in general, I think is really dumb. Yeah, my clothes are too heavy, so I can't say these words. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's just the dumbest excuse I've ever heard of. And I get it. I have the same problem with like other games like Dragon Age and stuff like that. And it's all, well, it's to keep the game balanced. It's to keep the game. It's to keep the role playing balance between the roles, because otherwise you just make yourself into like this be all end all godlike character that has all the magical power and wears the heaviest, most sturdy armor, but can still run and jump and leap and dodge roll and carry a big ass sword and a big ass shield, and you just be this unstoppable god. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me do that. There are some games where I like the class systems that they put into the game. Diablo is one of them. Torchlight 2, games like that, I usually don't have a problem with there being a strict class system. Otherwise, I typically prefer the Skyrim approach. Just let me do whatever the fuck I want. But I mean, I don't hate Dragon Age, and I definitely don't hate Neverwinter Nights, because the thing I kept telling myself as I played through this was, remember, this is D&D. You wanted to play some D&D, this is what D&D is. So either accept that and play this game and enjoy it for what it is, or admit to yourself that you don't really want to play D&D. And I was like, no, I do. I do want to play Dungeons and Dragons. That's why I got the game. So I stuck with it. I ended up remaking my character. I made a paladin because I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna go, something that's if I can't be the wizard in plate armor, then I'm just gonna go a little more, the warrior type. But I still wanted some magical ability, so I made a paladin. And I got through chapter 1 of the game. I found all of those fucking water Davian creatures for the second time, and it was a pain. It's a pain in the ass. I went through all that trouble. I moved into chapter 2. I was investigating, like, the Helmites had turned out to be evil, and I was moving into like the areas of Luskin, I believe it's called, Luskvale, Duskin, I don't know. And this other next town, which was nice because the first chapter of the game took place entirely inside the city of Neverwinter, in all the different districts of the city. And then in the second chapter is where we actually got to go out. And you were in a little village, and then you were supposed to travel. There was like a forest here, another forest here, maybe like a lake over here, another town up north. And you're starting to get more of the world. You're not just limited to just the one city. And then I did something stupid. So I have a gaming laptop. I bought it because for my work, I travel a lot, and I wasn't about to lug around a big gaming desktop PC. So I decided to go with a gaming laptop. I'm not very computer savvy to begin with. So I took my buddy with me when I bought my gaming laptop, and he told me like something about like, you want the solid state drive. That's where you want to have your games. And my D drive is my solid state drive. So I noticed that for some reason, I don't remember just setting it up this way, but when I downloaded and installed the game, it's the enhanced edition, by the way. It's Neverwinter Nights enhanced edition off of Steam. It's $20, really good investment. When I downloaded and installed that from Steam, it installed on my C drive. So my dumb ass went into my C drive, clicked on it, held the button down, and drug it over to my D drive and let it go, thinking like it'll move it. Well, it didn't move it. It copied it. It copied all the files. So now I had a set of the Neverwinter Nights files in C and a set in D. And then I went, well, I don't need the C anymore. So I really quick just deleted those. And then I went to start up the game. It loaded up just fine. The initial like screen showed up with the main menu screen of new game, load game, blah blah blah. I clicked load game. No save data. None. So I've started over yet again, and I'm trying to track down those fucking water Davian creatures again. And it is a pain in the ass. It's just so annoying. I was really hesitant to even do it again this early after that happening, but I really do like the game. So I decided the only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I, play something different. So now I'm playing more of like a cleric. I'm playing a cleric fighter multi-class. Clerics being clerics and paladins have and druids actually, they have divine magic. It's not arcane magic, so it's not subject to arcane spell failure. That's why you can see clerics and paladins wearing heavy plate armor. It doesn't affect their spells. But so far I like it just fine. I remember seeing when I made the character, I started him as fighter, and then when the first time I leveled him up and multi-classed him into cleric, I remember it telling me to choose. I got to pick like 2 spells that were not typical cleric spells, and I chose one that was like a blinding radiant holy light spell, and another one that was like an electric shocking spell. They seemed, cleric-y, paladin, like holy warrior like to me. And it said that I would unlock those at level 2. Right now in the game, my class level is 4 and my cleric level is 2. And I still don't have those available to me. So either I don't know what the fuck's going on, they're not available to me, I'm not looking in the right spot, I don't know. Hopefully I figure that out soon, because I'm looking forward to it. So, why did it take me so long to try this game? I've been a fan of Dungeons & Dragons lore since I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. I started reading the R.A. Salvatore Forgotten Realms books with Drizzt Do'Urden, the Dark Elf, the Drow. Loved those books. I've read a number of those books. I actually have all my copies of those books signed by R.A. Salvatore. He was at a book signing at a school near my hometown, and we drove over there and got the book signed. I actually got him to tell me. He's the creator of Drizzt Do'Urden. And I asked him, yo, how do you pronounce his name? What's the correct way? And he's like, yeah, man, half the fun of it is everyone coming up with their own way. And I enjoy hearing everyone's different interpretations of how they pronounce it. And I go, yeah, but you're the creator, so let me rephrase my question. How do you pronounce it? And he said, Drizzt. Like the 2 Z's make like the S sound like in pizza. He said Drizzt with a T on the end. So there it is, Drizzt Do'Urden. I like it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, I've been a fan of D&D for the lore for a little while, and where am I going with this? Why didn't I play Neverwinter Nights? It's mainly because of one thing and one thing only. It was always described to me in every trailer and every review, written or video review, doesn't matter. It was always called turn-based. Turn-based RPG. Fantasy RPG. I don't fuck around with turn-based. If it's not a Pokemon game, I don't want to play turn-based. Anything. Turn-based is the best we could do back in the day before technology got more advanced. And now it is more advanced. And we can do really cool, fast-paced, reactive, and still strategic, still require thought, but just cooler looking, faster paced combat systems. So why the fuck we have any games where it's literally your team lined up on one side, the enemy team lined up on the other side, and you take turns having your characters just run across the screen and do an attack or cast a spell. It's dumb. But this game is not actually turn-based in that sense, the classic Final Fantasy sense. It's turn-based in that you're going to be walking through the world in real time, and when you come across enemies, they're going to immediately start trying to attack you, or you can attack them first if you want. And you'll see in like the chat text box of the game in like the bottom. For me, it's in the bottom left corner of my screen, my interface, my screen. It'll show you the D&D shit going on in there. Like if a creature attacks you, it'll say creature rolls, blah blah blah. Like the computer is still doing the dice rolls, so to speak, but it's just telling you what it got when it did the automated dice roll. And it is turn-based in that, like, let's say you got you, and you can have like one little minion with you as like a helper. That's it. If you want to roll with like a traditional D&D party, you got to play multiplayer. But single player wise, it's you, and you can have one other companion with you. So it'll be the 2 of you, and let's say there's like 3 other enemies around you. The game will take initiative into account, and it will allocate you guys into like a rotation of turns. But the thing is, it will just automatically keep cycling through the turns. It'll automatically go, your turn, your companion's turn, that enemy's turn, that enemy's turn, that enemy's turn. And if you want to do something other than a basic attack with your weapon, you click it from either the radial menu or the hotkey menu. You click it, and it gets entered into a queue. And if you didn't click it in time, it's not going to go off and activate. Like, let's say you want to use a spell, like you're a wizard, you want to cast Fireball. Enemy's coming at you, all right? He's moving towards you on the map. You want to start hitting him with a Fireball. If you don't click the Fireball spell fast enough, it's not going to launch. You're not going to see your character launch it until the computer revolves, goes through the rotation of turns and comes back around to your wizard. But when it does go through the rotation of all the combatants' turns and gets back around to your character, and it does so automatically, you don't have to click anything. You don't go to a separate screen where people are just lined up on both sides. It's all right there in the normal game map. It's a lot like KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, which makes sense because BioWare made this game. And then they later on I believe they took this game engine and used it for KOTOR. So, unless I'm mistaken, and I could be mistaken. So it makes sense. If anyone's played Knights of the Old Republic, it feels a lot like that. It's just like you're going to enter, it's almost like auto attack, and it looks and feels like auto attack, but it is turn-based, so to speak. It's just the computer is automatically rotating and going through the turns of each combatant. And if you want to use a special attack or special spell, you click the key and it cues it in for the next time it's your turn, as it's just automatically revolving through all the different turns of all the different combatants. So that's fun. Like I said, it basically makes it into auto attack. So it's not as boring as just sitting there like attack, 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 magic spell, attack. That's boring. That's dumb. I hate that shit. This is actually it all takes place in real time. With the enhanced edition, the animations look great. When the enemy swings its weapon, if they roll the computer rolls the dice for that enemy, and if they miss, if their roll doesn't come high enough and they miss, it shows it. They miss. Their sword is, or their axe that they're swinging at you, you kind of move to the side and it goes past you. If you have a high enough parry skill, if you have enough points allocated into parry, it will show your character parry. If the computer rolls the right dice for your dice roll for you, and you get a successful parry, your character will parry. They'll block with the shield. They'll do it all. And the spell animations actually look really good. I know it is an enhanced edition, but it's an enhanced edition of a 20-year-old game, so you'd still expect it to look pretty aged and dated. I think it looks great. And it looks very D&D to me. The entire time, all the hours I've put into this game so far, even having to restart all the times, it does seem very Dungeons and Dragons-y to me, and I love it. I love it. I can't say enough good things about it. I can't wait to play more. I'm not going to get into like the story of the game because that's, the campaign. The story is the D&D campaign. And that's what everyone plays for. So I'm going to leave that up for you guys to discover. I will say this, though. There is a main campaign. And then there's an expansion. And then there's another expansion. And then there's another expansion. And then there's, like, several smaller mini expansions. You are getting so much game value in this enhanced edition. It's not only is it all remastered in like the graphics look as good as they could possibly ever be. You're getting a lot to play. You're getting hours and hours and hours of entertainment. All the multiplayer feature. One of the things that made this game super popular back in the day was its multiplayer. Because if you had a good party of friends that all got the game, you could, like me sitting here at my computer with a headset on, or people doing the old school LAN party where they're all in the same room together, just around the room at different tables with their computer. It was D&D night, except instead of around a table and you're moving pieces and rolling dice, they were on Neverwinter Nights playing D&D. And it came with the same software that the BioWare used to build the game. It came with the same software, so you could build your own maps. You could essentially build your own expansions in the same way that people playing tabletop D&D write their own campaigns and play their own campaign stories. So it is Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is Dungeons and Dragons it is the electronic version of Dungeons and Dragons. It is the best one yet. We will see how Baldur's Gate 3 goes. In my opinion, Neverwinter Nights is still the best one. Neverwinter Nights 2, I've heard, is arguably better than the Enhanced Edition. However, I think that's simply because the only difference, I've played a little bit of Neverwinter Nights 2 as well. I didn't really see the appeal all that much. The only thing I noticed about it that was kind of nicer was during single player mode, you have a full party of like, it's your character that you made plus like three others, up to three others in a party. So it does feel a little more like a full traditional Dungeons and Dragons party, as opposed to just in Neverwinter Nights, the first game. It's you know, your character that you made, and then like one other traveling companion that's run by the computer. Another thing, the companions that are run by the computer in Neverwinter Nights, not too bad. They typically do what I tell them to do, and they help me out in fights, and they disarm traps for me so that I don't, step on them, and they open boxes that are locked that I wouldn't normally be able to get into. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good AI built into these minions, these companions that follow you around and help you. So yeah, man, I think I've covered a lot. That's my take on Neverwinter Nights, specifically the Enhanced Edition. Sorry I don't show gameplay in this. It'd just be, like I said, I had to start the game over, so I'm right at the very beginning. There's not a whole lot going on, and yeah, I don't know. But I think I've covered a lot of info on the game. I hope anybody out there that's looking for an alternative to tabletop D&D, or maybe you had a good group of people that you played tabletop D&D with, but maybe you guys can't all find time during the week to meet up and sit around the table for hours. Maybe this is just the easier alternative for you to just sit down at your computer, put on your headset, and play some Neverwinter Nights. I don't know. But anybody else who's played Neverwinter Nights, leave some comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Get some dialogue started there. Please like the video if you like what I had to say here and you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel. Check out some of my other videos, and I will see you guys next time.